Howdy there folks, I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs, and it's that time again. Time to improve your macOS skills. Speaking of skills, this episode's brought to you by Skillshare, the learning platform for creators with over 17,000 tutorials. Sign up today with the link below. Tip number 1. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that most of you know what the quick app switcher is, wherein you use your limb and the hand attached thereto to hold down the command key and then press the tab button. And it brings up this little quick access menu of all your open apps. And as long as you hold command down, you can hit the tab key as many times as you'd like to navigate to an application that you want to bring back to the foreground. Then just let go of the command key and the app pops up to the front. Pretty handy. But what people may not know is that there are a few sub tricks that are available only to the most expert of Mac users. Let me show you all of them. The first one is if we open this a little switcher back up using command and tab, if you have a lot of apps open, pressing tab can get annoying. So you can actually just move your cursor over to the application that you want to bring to the foreground. You let go, and there you go. That's all you have to do. But wait, there's more. This one is pretty advanced that even pro users don't know about. If you navigate over to an app that you will have multiple windows open in, you can press the number 1 key and it actually shows you all the open windows. Then you just select the window that you want to bring to the foreground and there you go. Pretty freaking neat. But wait, that goes even deeper. Let's navigate to text edit here at the end. I can press the number 1 key again, and not only does it show me all the open windows, there's only one right now, but it shows me an entire list of all my recent documents. I can click any of these and they will open right from this little view. Pretty dang cool. This happens in Preview, in text edit, and a couple of third-party applications as well. But that's not all. Here's your last one. Let's say you have a window that's minimized in the dock, and this is something that many pro Mac users and casual Mac users do all the time. You minimize a window down into the dock, and there it is. Now, sure, you can navigate over the dock and open it that way, but there's actually a faster and easier way to do it. If you go into this little quick app switcher view, unfortunately, if I navigate over to Google Play Music desktop player, if I let go, that doesn't unhide this window. It does bring the app to the foreground, but it doesn't hide this window. But I can actually call it to my attention by holding down command, pressing tab to bring up the switcher, and then instead of letting go of command, I hold down the option key and then let go of command. And that pulls any hidden or minimized window from the dock back into view. Pretty dang cool. Let me show you one more time. So that window's minimized. I navigate to the app switcher, and instead of just releasing command, I hold down option and command at the same time, and then let go of command while still holding option. And bloop, it pops back out of the dock. Pretty dang cool. Tip number 2. I've always done a pretty good job at trying to keep my desktop clean and tidy, but I know there are many amongst us that have crap strewn all over the place with no categorization, files are thrown all over the place, and it's a complete disaster. macOS Mojave introduces stacks, which make things a lot easier. You can enable them by going View, Use Stacks, or you can right-click on the desktop and click Use Stacks. That will categorize all of your documents automatically according to your specification that you give it. So I can say group stacks by their kind, which is what they are right now, documents, images, PDFs, movies. I can do the date they were last opened, added, modified, or even created, which is pretty interesting. So today, previous 30 days, yesterday, September, October. But there are further classifications that you can access by pressing Show View Options. Not only can you organize them and stack them by kind, but you can actually sort the stacks themselves by certain categorizations as well. Like, for example, their name or their type. You can see that there. You can also, and these other features are not necessarily new. They've been in macOS for quite some time, but I think their usefulness is amplified with stacks. You can space the grids out because you'll have more area and surface area on your desktop. You can change the text size of the labels, which is kind of cool. You can also change the label position, so you can bring them off to the right, for example, which when you have a few tidy stacks, I actually think is a really, really nice way to do things. And then you can also show the item info. This one's really cool. So for example, the storage capacity on your drives remaining, or how many items are inside of your smart stacks. Very cool. Tip number 3, Safari is an excellent web browser, and if you haven't tried it in a few years, you should really give it a shot again. A lot of features added in the latest update make things significantly better, like auto content blocking. But there is still the possibility, perhaps, that video will autoplay on a website that you visit, but this can be disabled from within Safari. If you're on a website that you find autoplays video often, you can actually press Safari and then go to Settings for this website. That will show you a list of settings, including page zoom, pop-up windows, whether they have access to any of your camera, microphone, or locations, whether content blockers like ad blocking is enabled, or of course, whether or not video autoplays. Now, by default, everything is to stop media with sound, but everything else can autoplay in the background. But if there's a website that's constantly streaming video in multiple places that's hogging all your bandwidth, you can just say never autoplay. And the web page will not autoplay videos. That website, the domain, will not be allowed to autoplay videos until you press play. Pretty dang cool. Conversely, if there's a website like YouTube where you want things to always autoplay, you can press allow autoplay, and that will always allow things to work. But you might be wondering, okay, that's by website, which is kind of annoying. Is there a way to do this system-wide? Well, yes, there is. You can actually enter Safari Preferences and then go to Websites. And then down here at the bottom, you can say when visiting other websites than the ones that you've made specific exceptions for, you can just say, no, never autoplay. And then all these other ones you can whitelist by hand, which is probably the best system because really who wants autoplaying video in their background? Tip number 4, a lot of people know about AirDrop and even the new continuity camera in macOS Mojave. But what a lot of people don't know about is continuity Clipboard. Now, this is not a new feature. It's been around for actually a few years, but historically it's been pretty unreliable. That said, in macOS Mojave, Apple must have fixed something because I've had a 100% success rate in Mojave and on iOS 12. And what it allows you to do is to share clipboards in between your cloud-connected devices, which, if you think about it, is really awesome because everyone knows that copying and pasting on the iPhone is, well, not the greatest experience. And so what you can do is actually copy a line of text on your Mac, like you always would, Command-C, and then on a nearby iOS device, paste that directly into whatever you're doing on iOS. It's really handy. Now, if it isn't working by default, and it should, you must have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled on both iOS and your Mac. So that's important. And then you have to also make sure that it's enabled in iOS, and you can access that by going to Settings, General, Handoff, and then enabling handoff and continuity. Last but not least, if that doesn't work, restart both your phone and computer, and that should fix the issue. Now you might be wondering, well, how is this any different than, for example, syncing iCloud notes? Because that's how I always transfer stuff back and forth. And yeah, sure, that works. And a lot of people use that. But this is awesome because it's immediate. I copy something here and it's copied on my iPhone. I don't have to go into Notes and recopy it on my iOS device. Furthermore, this is ad hoc. It works just like AirDrop over Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And so nothing is going through the cloud. So if you're copying private or confidential or sensitive data that you don't want going through Apple servers, Continuity Clipboard is a really great way to copy and paste in between your devices. Tip number 5, pretty much everyone on the face of the planet knows that you can press the Tab key to advance through a form on a web page or on a document, etc., etc. It moves to the next field or to the next list, and it really is pretty handy. You can do everything with the keyboard without needing to access your mouse. However, I don't know if you noticed something. If you go back, there's a little checkbox right here, and if I press Tab, it completely skips over it, which is annoying because I want to enable checkboxes and radio buttons and all sorts of other stuff without having to actually use my mouse. And for some weird reason in macOS, this is disabled. If you go into the settings menu or the preferences, you can actually go to keyboard and then press shortcuts. And then down here at the bottom of shortcuts, it says full keyboard access in Windows and dialogues. And you're going to change from text boxes and lists only, which is the default, to all controls. You can also use Control F7 to change the setting if you want, but it's probably easier to navigate to the menu directly. And now if I go back to this form, I type in a fake password, I can press Tab again, and you'll see, hey, that little checkbox is highlighted. I can press the spacebar, and that will fill in the checkbox or unfill it out. And this works, for example, the submit button, which is pretty cool. It works for radio buttons. It works for a bunch of other amazing elements that for some weird reason are disabled in macOS. So go into System Preferences, turn this thing on, and holy smokes, save your life. Okay, that's a little dramatic. Tip number 6. As you can see here, I've got a case review that I wrote for university. Now, this was a homework assignment senior year. I'm sure the quality of writing is extremely poor. That's not the point of this tip, okay? Don't criticize my writing. What I wanted to show you is a tip that I did not learn myself until about, I don't know, less than a year ago. And I wish I would have known it my whole life. Now, it's not one that I use every day, but it has come in handy more often than I expected. When you highlight text in macOS, I'm in preview right now, it highlights line by line by line, which makes sense, right? That's normally how you would copy text. But sometimes you don't want to copy line by line and you want to copy text contiguously. For example, let's scroll down to this table. If I only wanted to copy this column, well, I'm SOL on macOS because it tries to copy everything from the cursor start point. I don't want everything else. I just want this column. Now, if I opened this document in Word or Adobe Acrobat or a paid pro application, I could probably isolate that column, but that's a pain in the butt and those apps are slow and they're not free. But there is a way to do it in macOS. Hold down the Option key and you'll see that your cursor turns to a little plus sign. And what you can do with that plus sign is drag a little box, and that will allow you to select text contiguously, which is pretty dang cool. I can let go and then copy that to my clipboard as normal, open a new document and press paste. Now that copies the whole entire table, but you could also press Shift Option Command V to paste without formatting. And there you go. I've copied all of my text. It's pasted in a nice new neat formatted square. And holy smokes, I was able to copy text contiguously without having to open some pro app. You won't use it often, but when you do, holy smokes, are you going to be happy you learned it. Now that you've improved your proficiency in macOS, you can tackle something else with Skillshare. Skillshare provides creators with over 17,000 creative, business, tech, and lifestyle classes. I just finished watching a class on productivity and scheduling, something that I've always admittedly struggled with. I learned about time theming, rather giving each day an overarching goal. For example, administration work on Mondays and video production on Tuesdays. This helps mitigate panic and stress by feeling the need to bounce all over the place down this long list of scheduled to-dos every X number of minutes. This is just one short example of the millions of things you can learn through Skillshare's entire catalog with a premium membership. Improve your value and open new doors with Skillshare. An annual subscription is less than $10 per month. Better yet, the first 500 people to use my link can get 2 months of Skillshare Premium absolutely free. Well, folks, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. If you didn't, well, that other button seems to work okay too. But most importantly, and as always, stay snazzy.
I've lost you, but I need you, and you're off my radar now. I've lost you, telling you that I need you, but you're off my radar.